An exhibition at the Paul Robeson Center at the Arts Council of Princeton brings together the work of 5 extraordinary Black artists who lived and worked in the Princeton area during the second half of the 20th century. Until now, their work had largely faded from history.
The show is retrieving the life and art of James Edwards and a circle of Black artists, including Hughie Lee-Smith, Rex Goreleigh, Selma Burke, and Wendell T. Brooks. The origin of the idea started with Lewis Tanner Moore, who was a collector.
Lewis Tanner Moore has spent a lifetime collecting the works of African American artists. Loans from his vast collection formed the foundation of the exhibition.
Having grown up in a house where art was valued and loved, and I have a relative who was an artist, and my father had friends who were artists, I was very surprised to see in the history of art of the world there were almost no women, almost no African Americans, almost no Asians, almost no ... down the line.
In fact, Lewis's great-uncle, Henry Asawa Tanner, was the first African American painter to achieve international success. He was a favorite student of Thomas Eakins, who painted this portrait of Lewis's great-uncle in 1902. Retrieving the life of James Wilson Edwards and a circle of Black artists is co-curated by Judith Brodsky and Rhinold Ponder. Rhinold is an activist, lawyer, writer, and creator of Art Against Racism, a website he started during the Black Lives Matter protests.
And the two of us are doing an exhibition that's going to be a focus on your father, James Wilson Edwards.
Judith is a renowned artist, printmaker, and professor emerita in the Visual Arts Department at Rutgers University.
One of the things that was most important was that instead of the Princeton, Trenton, Bucks County area being predominantly a white history of the cultural activity in this area during the second half of the 20th century, there were African American artists who were important figures.
It's absolutely clearly influenced by what's going on in the Black arts movement.
The most exciting thing for me was the whole detective activity that we had to pursue in order to find out about the artists themselves.
Of course, their lives were a mixed bag. These artists were not as well known or well respected as we thought they should be.
We asked Lewis Tanner Moore if one of James Wilson Edwards' paintings was especially meaningful for him.
The painting that comes to mind is one that's an untitled portrait of a head. And it's just a woman staring straight out from the canvas at you with a sort of garden scene that's obscured in the back. And it's just a haunting, simple, direct portrait in some ways, but it just has a mood and a character that speaks to his view. And it's just a beautiful Black woman being presented to the world. I think some of his work that is most delightful really is work that tells a story. There's another painting of a woman on a rooftop that is in a dancer's outfit, and you can't see the painting without imagining who she is and how she got there and what she's dancing away from or what she's dancing to. And then to see him in the context of the artists that were part of his circle, someone like Rex Goreleigh.
Rex Goreleigh was recruited to Princeton from Chicago in 1947.
So Rex Goreleigh was invited by a very diverse group of individuals in the Princeton area, Quakers, Jews, including politicians, who were interested in starting Princeton Group Arts, an arts center that crossed all boundaries of discrimination. Judith and I love the same painting. And it's to Rex Goreleigh. Rex Goreleigh makes a political statement here, and you're looking at that thicket and how much work it will take to prune, to get rid of racism. But he has a strong black man with an axe who is self-determined to make change, and that represents power to me. So I do love that painting.
Wendell Brooks is a little bit younger than the generation that we've been talking about, but we felt that it was really important to include him. And of course, what he brought in terms of an artistic diversity is that he is an incredible printmaker. Rex Goreleigh and Hughie Lee-Smith were also strong proponents of dream imagery, kind of a form of American surrealism, but using African Americans as inhabitants of a dream world with empty landscapes. And Hughie Lee-Smith actually commented on the fact that while people may think it's a universal loneliness that he's documenting, he said it also has to do with the fact that he was African American and felt isolated in the general society. Here were 4 men part of this group in the exhibition, and Selma Burke. Selma Burke was a very well-known sculptor. She had a long life. She came to live in Bucks County. When she was just a young sculptor starting out, she won an international commission to do a portrait of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. FDR sent her photographs, and she wrote back to FDR and said, "This is not enough, you have to come and sit for me. I don't work from photographs." And so she is the only artist that he actually sat for in person while he was President of the United States. Then that particular image is the image that is still on the dime. So if you have a dime in your pocket, you pull it out and you see the image of FDR, that is by Selma Burke.
We hope that, first of all, that others collaborate the way we've collaborated on this particular project, but that others also take the mantle of capturing regional artists, particularly regional artists of color and regional women artists, and bring them to the fore so that people have a better understanding of these communities. But not only the communities, for black folks and brown folks, also their humanity.